Let us continue with our lesson, and in this lesson we are going to learn about the access modifier in the Dart programming language. And if you are coming from the Java or the Kotlin, and there is an access modifier like private, public, protected, internal, and we'll go and see how that is actually matching with our Dart programming language over here. So let us go and take it on the practical way. So if I want this particular properties of this class, height, weight, and the age to be a private field, since we are accessing it, creating an object of the person over here, and we are accessing it. And once we have that particular object, I can just go and directly go and call that age, and I can just go and randomly set some value over here. So in this case, we don't want that to happen. So the user should not be able to change it once they create an object. So once they create a person object and pass in all the required parameters, then the user should not be able to set the value. They should be able to get the value, but setting the value is not allowed. So what we have to do is I need to go and create a private field. So in Java or the Kotlin, you will be doing something private, right? P-R-I-V-A, private over here. And in Dart over here, this kind of the keyword private, public, and the protected are not available. So how we can set this is we can just go and directly make it as underscore, and when we add the underscore to this particular property or the field, it will be mark it as a private field in the Dart. So now I need to change it over here. Let us go and change all of our to the underscore over here, and that should be good enough. Okay, so we have changed it over here, and if I go back to this particular main.dart file, and now we can see we are unable to access that. Even if I add underscore over here, we are unable to access that particular field. So which means that when we add underscore to this particular properties, the class properties, it's now a private field. But if I want to create another class over here, so let's say a class, and let's say a mail over here, and this mail has some like let us have some function over here, and I can just create a function like get height or something, and inside this I will just create a var and create a person object over here, which is of equals to a person, and I will pass some of the height like 165 and the height, weight, let's say 56.2, and the age of like say 36. So now we have this person object, and I can just go and say person dot, I have access to the age over here, and you can again go and say there's something different value over here. So which means that if you are coming from other programming language, it may be a bit confusing since we have made it as a private over here, but we are able to access it from the another class. In Dart, what we think this one class person or this particular file, you can say class underscore person is a package, and inside this package we are able to access that particular private field, and even you make it as a private inside this person class, but you can access if you have another class or another function or something, you can just access it within this particular file. But if we go outside of that file, we are not able to access. We are importing that particular class package over here, the class underscore person that file as a package, and then we are not able to access it. But inside this particular person class or the file, we are able to access no matter how many classes you create, and we are still able to get that particular private field. So that's the difference in with the other programming language, and you may be a bit confusing over here. So we learn about this particular field, private field, and if I want to make that this particular do it to the private or this function to the private, I can just make it as a do underscore it underscore, right? So when I say underscore, that should be unavailable for us to access. I can just go and print out something over here, and I can just say do it, or I can just say I can, or I will say a person can eat, right? And now if I go and call it from here, I will be able to obviously call that person dot do it, right? But if I go to the main.file, and I need to remove this for now, if I call the person dot underscore do it, I am not able to access that particular function, right? But I can access the do walk function. So now if you want to make that particular function as a private, we just have to make it as a underscore or add the underscore to the front. And similarly, if you want to make the constructor a private constructor, so which you don't want to create the instance or don't want to be able to access it from the another class or the another file, then what we have to do is we have to make it as a private. So I can create another constructor over here, person, right, dot, and I just have to give it as an underscore and we close it. So now this particular constructor is a private, and if I go over here and want to create that particular, let's say a var, and let's say pr is in person private, and which is equals to person, and now you can see that this is unavailable for us. And what I can do, I can actually just go, and I have this second constructor, so let me just go and comment it out first. And now we have this constructor, and I will just accept the same kind of the parameter over here. And now if I go over here, you can see that it is unavailable for us. And if I go over here, and now I need to access that particular dot underscore, and within here I am able to access that particular function or the particular constructor for this person, which is a private. But over here I am not able to access that one. So even if I want to access that, I am not able to access. And even if I just want to get the default constructor, I am not able to create that particular object using a default constructor. So this default constructor now is a private. So if I say it as this one, the default constructor becomes a private already, and we are unable to access it outside of this particular package or the file. But it is available for us inside the same file through a different class or through a different function or the main function, whatever you create over here, it is still available for us. But outside of this particular class, we don't have an access to that one. So this is how we create a private field class properties, as well as the class constructor, private constructor, and also a private function over here. So hope you learned something about it, and let's meet up on the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.